Hello and welcome to Reignite. I needed Reignite a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. And one of the reasons I really wanted Reignite to exist for me somewhere, and I wish there was like a place I could go where startup marketers were just speaking to each other and engaging with each other in a way to reignite the spark. And I think that it's too easy to get burnt out. It's too easy to get discouraged. It's too easy to get overwhelmed. And for us, people who are oftentimes a part of lean teams, sometimes are super well tooled because it kind of supports that back end of not having a ton of people, and then sometimes not being too super well tooled and having to be scrappy and resourceful and all and the like. And so I think sometimes it's going to be really important and really powerful for us to have an idea of what it looks like and what it means and just know what the work is, to go ahead and reignite ourselves when we're feeling like, you know what, maybe I just don't got it. Maybe the feeling has faded. And so today we're reigniting ourselves as marketers with purpose. And so I wanted to start with the idea that you're still here. So let's start there. The feeling might be gone, but the quota is not, and the work is waiting. And when it feels like, man, it's not, it may or may not even be a lot going on, but I know that it's my job to figure out how to feel this. I know that it's my job to figure out how to be here. It's affecting my posture socially. It's affecting, whether I want to withdraw and stay to myself, or whether I want to tap in and press, whether I want to try new projects and take on new challenges, or whether or not I'm actually hoping you don't have anything to say to me directly in this meeting. Like, it is something we have to acknowledge, and it's where we have to start. And so I think that one way that I have considered or acknowledged that, you know what, this is getting really tough for me. I have to figure out how to do this again. I have to figure out how to be here again, is in the idea of a pilot light. So sometimes you're not going to be able to wait until you feel moved. Sometimes the vision comes from the top, and sometimes it doesn't. I know for myself, when I started to feel really overwhelmed was when I was working on big opportunity projects and I didn't feel like I had the full might of help that I wanted. But I think in all of the work that I was doing, even though I was on a fantastic team, even though I was doing exciting work, I got so tired from the sheer volume of work to be done, the sheer volume of decisions, the sheer volume of creative, that it was easier to move forward if I just put my feelings aside and just chugged forward and do the work. The challenge is, if you do that, there comes a point where you've gone really, really far and you haven't felt anything in a long time. And so now, when that work that you did with all brain and no heart gets in front of people and they start hard editing it, you realize, man, if I were in my best self, this would have looked different. This would have presented different. I would have remembered to consider that. I would have said that. This would have evoked that emotion. This would have made you feel this way. And so I know that we go ahead, we get up, whether we're sitting at the desk at home, whether we're sitting in the coffee shop, whether we're in the office, at the desk, in the conference room, we're trying to do whatever we can to be here because we understand that we got to be wherever we got to be so that we can take care of ourselves and our lives. But the only thing tethering us to our work is our fiscal obligations, we're stuck and we need to go ahead and figure out how to get a little unstuck, a little untethered to just the monotony of life and start to add the magic back. And so I remember feeling like, man, I just don't see it anymore. It's hard for me to see the vision here. It's hard for me to tap in here. Sometimes vision comes from the top, but sometimes communicating vision And sometimes communicating vision is somebody's superpower, and they're on your team and they're in your org, and they're coming and they're saying something and everybody's moved. They're coming and they're saying something and everybody feels it. Maybe. But when that person is not there, when that person isn't doing that function, it's it's up to you. Vision doesn't always get distributed out, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to cast it out yourself. Sometimes you have to do it for yourself, to yourself, so that you are thinking and feeling the things you need to think and feel in order to be moved and to be able to focus on this work. Because if your pilot light goes out, everything goes dim right along with it. Strategy suffers. The stories are flat. The work loses its color. And if anybody feels disconnected or disillusioned, it probably shouldn't be the guy whose job it is to slow us down and make this feel real. The guy whose job it is to make the buyer feel heard, understood, and respected, and to make the user feel seen and supported. That guy, the guy who tells the story when he leaves mentally and emotionally, we don't just feel it, but it ends up hurting us, compelling us to create sterile content where we aren't thinking much because we aren't feeling much, and we in the end just hope that the prospects do something, maybe buy. There is more to marketing than just sterile content and resources. We are solving real problems for real people. And if something happens and we don't feel that anymore, even if there is work we have to continue to do, a part of our personal PD, a part of the professional development that we require of ourselves is going to have to make room for us to go touch grass again and make it real for ourselves first, and then be able to do just that in our work and for others. So, when the feelings become real for us, the emotion that we had in reporting becomes the narrative of the stories we tell internally among the go-to-market teams. When the feelings become real again, the strategy becomes infused with intuition, and that becomes insight. When the feelings become real again, the eyes that we use to see the buyer as a person become messages for connection. When the feelings become real again, the words you choose with care become trust. There's a lot at stake when we burn out, when we kill the flame, or maybe because of the passing of time, the flame fades. And when you find yourself in this spot, there's a way to help get yourself out of it. So these are a few things that I have done that have helped me to find my way out of the fog, out of the smoke once I feel like my flame has gone out. And the first one is to get closer to the customer so that I can remember. I need to remember what makes this problem real, what makes this problem so bad. And I need to remember what it feels like for them, because if I can empathize or sympathize with my customer, I can remember why I felt like this is a problem so worth solving that I decided to join this mission. I decided to join this machine and to contribute in this way to make sure that they not only see that we solve this problem, but show how we really understand this problem better than many more. The next thing that I like to take some time to do is to fall in love with the product again. So I need to remember what makes this solution work. What makes it truly better than what it is that the competitors are selling? And why are we the perfect people to help them through this? I think that, and this is super specific to me sometimes, because I have a tendency to choose to collaborate with companies that I feel like helps me do the work my life was doing anyway. So when I decided to work for an ed tech company supporting kids K through 12 learn math education, I felt like I was already doing that in one way or another. I thought that I was already supporting children. I was already supporting children in with their education, and I was already figuring out how to be supportive with technology in one way or another, in one role or another. I was already doing some of that work. What I needed to do was remember how this aligned to my life's work overall in the first place. And then I could be like, okay, I remember the feeling. I'm still committed to this, to solving this problem. And I still believe in the tool I'm sourced with, or I'm taxed with using. I can still move forward with this. And I still love this product as much as I loved it when I first got here. And these are some of the things that help it become real for me. And I think the thing that comes after that, because sometimes those things are true and the feeling still isn't there, the flame still isn't lit. The next thing that I like to do is I like to marry a problem. And when I marry a problem, I marry this umbrella. And when I marry an umbrella, there are so many different projects that are already in motion, so many different projects that I have yet to really pitch or to advocate that the entire team collaborate to really prioritize. But every single project that I'm the most excited about is going to either touch or directly affect the problem that I have married myself to. It's also likely a problem that my role is married to. So because I'm a marketing manager, a lot of what I do is make sure that if we are having issues with the documentation of how to communicate the value of this product, as a marketing manager, as a product marketing manager, I know that I have to make our value as clear as possible to each of our personas. So if we're doing something like picking a new tool to start using digital sales rooms to better present the information and resources that we have, I know that the way that I address or support this larger project of picking this tool is going to be in a way that supports the problem that I'm married to, of making sure that we absolutely are communicating our value with product marketing, making sure that it's all there and making sure that nothing is missing. I have already married this problem umbrella, and now I just get to tie tentacles between the project that I'm working on to the problem that I married, or decide to own completely this whole project that is very connected to the problem that I married. And now I can kind of go full force with it within some limited scope. So I don't feel like I'm working on a project into eternity. I feel like I'm doing another project that helps me solve this problem. And I would say the next thing that helps me find my way out of the fog is to be honest about what's missing and add it in. At some point, I was like, man, I really do feel like the vision is missing for me. Man, I really do feel like I don't feel what I should feel. I don't feel inspired. I don't feel encouraged. I don't feel supported, all of those things. And so if I realize that we don't have clear objectives, maybe I need to go ahead and add that in. If I realize that we don't have clear resources, maybe I need to go ahead and commit to just developing them and get that in there. If I'm realizing we don't have clear vision, then maybe for myself, I want to make sure that we are all aligned on what it is we're doing and where it is that we're going, and then I can hold tightly to that vision. Um, if I could fill the gap for myself, that's amazing. If I could support, if I see that that gap is affecting us socially, then I might even want to go ahead and fill that gap for them as well. Just sharing what I'm learning, sharing my takeaways. But at the end of the day, it comes down to not being lazy and just leaning in. I think that sometimes when we see a problem in the space that isn't necessarily associated with our work, the idea is like, man, like, that's not my problem. That's a crazy way to think or feel when you are the first person or the foremost person being negatively impacted by the presence of this problem. So it's like, maybe it's not necessarily a part of the huge scope of work that you prioritize and focus on every single day. But at some point, the problems in front of you have to, like, that you have to have some responsibility with them when they start to compromise you. And I think finding your way out of the fog has a lot to do with being willing to take responsibility and ownership for whatever it is that you have going on right now. And when I realized how to keep the flame and what it is that I needed to do after I found my way out of the smoke and out of the fog, these are the things that mattered. These are the things that moved me. These are the things that kept it all alive for me. So the very first thing that I did was I picked a few priority projects. A few priority projects that are aligned with and married to the problem that I married. The next thing that I did was I built some standards for each project, because what I was able to do was to like kind of like build a little bit of a scope of what this project is. And inside of that scope, I'm like, okay, so this objectively, this is what this has to accomplish. These are the OKRs, if you will, for this project. And as a part of this scope, I also want to be including the thoughts and feelings for the project. Because the thing is, the project that I was doing was so big and so massive. One, it wasn't well chunked into sub projects, and I didn't do a great job building out that core, building out that scope with the standards and the thoughts and feelings. So when I started to get overwhelmed, when people were asking for everything, when there were so many notes and so much feedback, I started to just become overwhelmed, feel spent, not feel invested into, and not feel tethered to anything that was able to continue to fuel or drive me in what it is that I was doing. And so I do believe that helps kind of keep the core strong, and gives you a place to revisit, to make things feel alive. And now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm the kind of person to voice message myself things that I could watch or look at later, there's nothing wrong with that thoughts and feelings moment being a video instead of being something that's typed out, because you're going to be able to convey a lot more enthusiasm, be a lot more energetic, and have a lot more to grapple with later, that you don't even that doesn't take much work to consume if it is a video of thoughts and feelings, and if it is a video like articulating the standards for this project and the rationale behind them. And then I would say after that, as a part of each project, you want to just make sure that there's a simple plan with dates to help you execute. For me, I'm the kind of person sometimes that, I get really, really excited. And now I'm like doing things, and I didn't even realize, had I made a plan, I would have realized I technically have already skipped 3 steps. I might want to go ahead and backfill some of those, or do some of those in tandem with what I'm excited and eager to do right now. And I want to make sure that I also build out enough of the plan to be able to finish strong, because everybody knows that it's so easy to kind of start strong and then not finish as strong. So making sure that the structure is there to make sure that that issue's not happening for us in the end. And then I would say at the end, prepare to story tell internally and externally to help everyone see and feel it. Projects feel like something. And I think sometimes when we work on things and we hope people are excited about our contributions, we show them the flyer and they're like, that's great. We show them the campaign and they're like, that's cool. But I think if we do a better job at storytelling internally and externally, we end up transferring the flame. And I think that's the thing that's different about marketing, that other departments aren't responsible for in the same way. We don't just give people sales collateral. We aren't just kicking off campaigns or doing brand awareness or lead gen campaigns and content. We spark the flame and we keep the flame alive. And for the internal team, that still matters. For the external people that we're trying to reach, that certainly matters. And this is a part of the work. This is the work that nobody ever taught me was going to be necessary. And I'm so excited to feel like, okay, at least I have clarity on this now, because I don't have to go into the rest of my time and my projects feeling like I have to get some brand new focus, when everything that I'm working on can have that same cohesion and fire and feeling. And that's the thing that I'm excited about, being able to keep that flame alive instead of constantly burning out, by using really intentional standards with really specific scopes, by keeping a strong grasp on the thoughts and feelings, by having a simple plan with dates in them to help execute, and to absolutely know how to launch something out both internally and externally that does more than just makes the announcement, but it transfers the feeling. And so that is today's conversation on how to respond when the feeling fades, reigniting yourself as a marketer with purpose. I really hope that this has helped. And I hope that now you feel like you are super well equipped to refuel, to repeat, like just like this process. And I hope for the best for you as you continue to do your amazing work.